Well, hello, channel. And I know there's a weird delay, so I also got to make sure I can take that in consideration. That was like the worst thing I figured out when I first started live streaming. I'm like, I'd hit go and it's like, I did the first YouTuber mistake of watching your own try to live stream. I'm like, oh no, it's not
Yep,
working.
it's not working. Oh no. Oh wait. Now I'm talking to myself. Oh, now I have 15 seconds of me just talking to myself. Yep, been there, done that.
I've also made that same mistake where I closed it too soon. And so it's like, I'll be like getting ready to close out the stream and it's just like, all right. And then just ends. I'm like, oh, I fucked up. Oh, God, watching my sailor mouth while we're YouTubing. Hello, YouTube. Hey, everybody.
That's all right. I think we passed the 30 seconds. I think we're safe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird, like still learning the streaming rules of YouTube, because it's like I'll watch some videos and it's like I'm learning the alphabet of swear words, and I'm like, oh, this can be said on YouTube. But then it's like a week later, like that video's been taken down because of it's broken our policy on verbal language. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you can't say that stuff on YouTube. But hi everybody, welcome to the channel. My name's Andrew, and with us tonight, we got Jonathan Daniels, also Magos. I want to make sure I say the correct user tag name. Magos. From the Null 404 community. So if we have any of the folks from Null 404, drop in chat, say hi, or at any point in time, do a quick hello. But yeah, super excited to grab you on the channel for our amazing story tonight. Will be the journey of compliance to GRC, or the journey to compliance, the GRC story, where we kind of get to hear a little bit about you, Jonathan. And I will go ahead and kind of pass over to you for a quick introduction. Let me kill this music real quick. And yeah, do you mind just kind of giving a quick little who you are and your background to introduce yourself to the channel?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. Hi, everybody. I'm John Magos. So I currently serve for a major state government organization as a GRC analyst, doing lots of fun third-party risk assessments and things of that nature. Been doing that actually for about a year. But prior to that, I was in the military. I was in the Army as an infantryman for 14 years, and transitioned out and picked up the cyber journey. So yeah, here we are.
Well, first off, as always, thank you for your service, for your time with the military. That's awesome. And it's funny, one of my colleagues that I went to my warrant officer course with was also infantry and was actually our honor grad. So to all my infantry bubbas that think or want to go cyber, it can happen. It's not unreachable. Don't think that you're just kicking indoors and going on ruck marches for the rest of your days. So,
yep.
But Jonathan, that's pretty awesome. And I'd say the best and first question I kind of always go into that we'll kind of just go ahead and really kind of jump in as we continue to banter for the next 35 to 45 minutes is cybersecurity. So growing up, talking to our teachers, we get asked the golden question of what do you want to be when you grow up? We say doctors, lawyers, astronaut, veterinarian, basketball players. But obviously, we had a calling for cybersecurity. You're specifically in, obviously, GRC. Kind of what was that path of what kind of got you into this role and why?
Sure. So as you may or may not be able to tell from all of the fun things behind me, I am a massive nerd. Most people that are, in this thing, I love to tinker with stuff. I love to figure out how things work. I like always knowing the why behind what's going on. So that's something that has been with me since I was a child and throughout my entire military journey. And then when I was I'd always been interested in computers. I've tinkered around with computers, built my own computers, played with, other operating systems, investigating Linux for the first time without any guidance from anybody years ago. So yeah, just when I was looking for a career to pursue post, my military time, I was like, well, I've been interested in cybersecurity and computers in general. I knew some people who I had served with who had transitioned into cybersecurity, and I had kept in touch with them over the years. And so I started investigating it and, learning more about it. Thought it was super cool. But as we'll probably, talk about later, there are so many niches of cybersecurity. I had to figure out where I would fit, right? And so, coming from my military background as a non-commissioned officer, I had so much experience following regulations, ensuring things were meeting standards, that was just a natural fit, both for my personality type and my experience. So here I am.
No, that's awesome. And I think GRC has a special place in my heart because once upon a dream, I contemplated making that career change just this last year, actually moving to GRC. And two roles came across my desk, which I almost took, but they just weren't the best fits. And I guess my follow-up question is, and just like you mentioned, so many folks when they're trying to break into cybersecurity, the the three golden positions I think people always think of and go to are your penetration testers or your
Mhm.
hackers, your blue team, security operation, security analysts, and
Mhm.
then probably like IT help desk.
Sure.
When it comes to the GRC roles, though, what kind of maybe I know you said kind of what's the best way, or do you think it's a strong person to fit that kind of role into that kind of candidacy? Do they have to be good at pen testing? Do they have to be good at defense? Or can anyone kind of really initially break into GRC with just kind of some curiosity and good research knowledge?
Sure. I think it's certainly possible. I can attest to that because my first role in cybersecurity was as a GRC analyst, officially. So, I'm testament to the fact that that can be done. Um, but in terms of who makes a good fit, well, the biggest thing I'd say about most GRC analysts is you have to be a rule governed person.
Mhm.
The rules have to mean something to you. You have to be one of those people is the rules is the rules is the rules. Because when you're talking about following governance, establishing policies, making sure you're in compliance with all the laws and all of the other things that you must be in compliance with.
There's a checkbox on the resume. Do you return your grocery carts to the cart return at the end of your shopping? Yes or no?
100%. I am absolutely somebody who will take my cart and other people and turn them back in. Yeah, it's just a personality type. Um, but beyond that, GRC is a interesting mix of both technical and soft skills, right? Because I'm an interface primarily between a whole bunch of very technical people and businesses who are using products that aren't technical. And so I sort of help bridge that gap, doing a lot of third party, vendor risk assessments when people want to use a tool or a product within the agency, of like guiding them through our compliance processes, helping them understand what we need in order to keep the environment secure. So having good foundational knowledge in cybersecurity basics, and then also having soft skills and empathy and the ability to explain things in a manner that the common person can understand are both really strong things to have in GRC.
No, that's excellent. And I guess because I see some certifications on the wall,
Yeah.
and I think one piece that I even struggle with,
Mhm.
wanting to dive more into GRC, other than diving into to like the frameworks and compliance piece of it, like NIST, RMF,
Mhm.
ISO 27001, are there are there certain certifications you would recommend? And we'll follow
Mhm.
this up with a second question of certifications, experience, education. Where do you rank the three? But
Okay.
are there any certifications you'd recommend that may or may not kind of be like the off brandish of GRC trainings that you can kind of navigate to for training to try to learn more about GRC rather than like your CompTIAs,
Right. No,
SAN,
there
stuff
certainly
like
are.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, so probably the biggest one and most commonly known one is C-risk. So that would be like, hey, this is the GRC certification, sort of like Security Plus is the generic cybersecurity certification. C-risk would be kind of the GRC cert. But that said, going into your next question of education versus certifications versus experience, clearly from behind me, you can see I have diplomas. You can see I have certifications. To be totally honest and frank with you, those things were requirements that I had in order to meet HR requirements to get hired.
Yep.
That's my real thought on that is if you need certain things for certain roles based on who's hiring you because HR is establishing a baseline of if you don't have these qualifications, they're not even going to look at you. Um, But for me, and my thoughts on it is what I'm really looking for from a hiring perspective would be that self-driven individual. Cybersecurity is constantly, constantly evolving, and you
Hmm.
cannot simply sit on what credentials you have. So I'm looking for that person who has a drive to constantly learn, and who can utilize experiences that they have that aren't necessarily even cybersecurity related, but can apply them to cybersecurity. So, for instance, I have 14 years as an infantryman. Well, how can that apply to cybersecurity? Well, there's a lot to it. I've done numerous risk assessments. I deal with people. I've led people routinely. So these are all things that can be applied. The principles behind them can be applied even to cybersecurity.
We call those like the professional skills. I
Mhm,
know sometimes I refer to them as soft skills, and I was just
mhm,
talking to an educator a few days ago, and she's like, "Well, we call those professional skills now, like communication, being able to address a crowd, lead, how to." And it's so silly, and you might get a chuckle out of this and recall any of this maybe in your organization.
yeah,
There's some millennial, not to pick on my millennials and Gen Zs and all those folks, but it's just like there's some organizations that are literally paying people to come into their organization to teach them how to respond to business emails, how
mhm,
to respond on corporate conference calls and Zoom
mhm,
calls, how to have basic communication skills and like addressing C-suite leadership. And it boggles me because like a few of the folks I talked to, I'm like, man, there's a trainer for that. I could teach that class, but I'm also an extroverted IT guy. I've been
sure,
given the nicknames of Tigger, of having I'm very, very much a chatty Cathy when it comes into walking into my sock for any in office times I have to go into the office. And I always get the comments like, Andy, the thing we like about you is you make us say 3 words a day. The thing we hate about you is you make us say 3 words a day. Because some people just like to stay in their corner and throw up the hood and just get the work done, which is
yeah,
fine. Not everyone has to be an extroverted team member. But I think just like you said, correlating the skills you learn from the military and as an infantryman, even of those core values, standardized systematic processes, quick root cause analysis thinking, and kind of deep thinking possibilities of different scenarios that came across the things that you encountered, you can correlate those to a lot of problems within cybersecurity,
absolutely.
physical security, the working the process of IR, doing threat intelligence, using open source intelligence, being able to throw together a synopsis or like some type of what's the word I'm looking for?
Hypothesis?
Hypothesis. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On a certain situation that's maybe going on within a city or an organization or a state. And I think some of those skills, those are the hardest part when like I've been doing mentorship this year, and the kids I talk to are rock stars. They have projects, they have the certifications, they're working on the degree. They've been inside the systems or the tools. But then I ask them those like star methodology questions or like the root cause analysis questions on just like, hey, how would you act to a colleague that you didn't get along with on a project? Well, I'd probably just ignore them and I get the work done. I'm like, well, that's a way. Or the hey, explain a time you've come to a turnpike or some troubles during a project. Oh, I never really have issues with projects. I usually figure it out pretty quick. It's not that they're trying to find your flaws. They're
Right.
trying to figure out your thought process on, hey, what happens when you come to that crossroad? Do you go talk to a manager? Do you try to
Yep.
address the problem on your own? Do you go relay into a colleague and get their like a third party opinion within the team? And then same thing when it comes to projects. When you come to that headache or an issue with a project, are you going into I need to go ask someone immediately because I don't know the answer. Or do you, hey, I'd go jump on Google. I'd go through our internal documentation. I'd do some control Fs. I'd, if I spent some wheels and can't find anything, I'd maybe ask a senior colleague of mine before I go right to the manager or my
Sure.
lead saying, I can't find this. So, yeah, no, I think that's an important piece of the puzzle when it comes into this day and age of trying to get the experience to be the best candidate for the role. And I guess another question I have for you
Mhm,
is, so what's a day, if you can describe this,
mhm.
doesn't have to be your specific day in life at
Yeah,
your
sure.
organization, but what's a day in the life look like for a GRC analyst for some of the other positions and stuff you've been in?
Okay. So I can tell you a lot about my experience. So in the organization that I work for, my primary role is dealing with a lot of acquisitions. So dealing with, a certain department wants these new tools, this new information system. So I do a lot of third-party risk assessments on those vendors. So for me, my day will start off, if I go through the whole process, I'll get notified by procurement that this business element wishes to buy this tool or this one of these tools. Can do a really quick lookup on these tools. Hey, do any of them, are outstandingly bad? And then they'll go through their selection process. And then I get to the fun nitty gritty part where I get to sit down with the businesses and the vendor representatives and their engineers and potentially our engineers. More and more, we're getting a lot of SaaS products, but we still do some stuff in house. And just go through that big chunk of NIST controls and like sit down and figure it out. It can be very time consuming. Sometimes you're going to do it in blocks at a time. But at the end of the day, we need to get that system security plan together and go through, make a risk assessment, get that approved, and get it operational in a timely fashion. So it's a lot of paperwork.
Would you say GRC is a marathon or a sprint, or is it kind of case by
Absolutely.
case basis?
Um, a little bit of both. So the day to day can seem like a marathon because you're dealing with a lot of checklists, right? And
Yeah.
ensuring that certain criteria are met. And that can be it can get mind numbing. You're asking these same questions over and over again, or looking at different things. Fortunately, every single environment, every single product is different. So you're going to look in new things all the time, and figure out how they best can work in your environment. But then you're gonna have off times. So like there will be times when, hey, maybe it's the end of the beginning of the fiscal year. End of fiscal year is always crazy busy
Yeah.
as people are trying to spend money that they have left. But let's say it's the beginning of the fiscal year, the holiday times. Well, I may not have anything going on at all. So while a day to day may seem like a marathon, I would more equate it to a series of sprints,
Okay.
looking at it holistically.
Do you have a favorite? And it sounds maybe kind of like a silly question because I know a
Mhm.
lot of the frameworks all kind of mesh well together. But do you have a favorite framework you kind of like to really emphasize in, or like is like you're the go-to guy like for ISO, RMF, NIST,
Yep,
like
that's
that's like
definitely
your
NIST.
no,
Yeah, so the NIST risk management
yeah.
RMF, all your 800 series stuff, like it's being based in the United States, it's kind of the standard for everything we do, particularly because I work for a government agency.
Mhm.
That this is the standard that we follow is NIST.
If someone wanted to get better or find open source ways to get better at GRC
Mhm.
specifically, I know we mentioned, and you'll have to say the name of the I'll get the name of the cert from you. The first one you mentioned that was like
Yeah, sea
the
risk.
equip, yeah, to get into it. But what's like some good resources or sites they can go
Oh
to
my
really kind
gosh.
of dive in?
NIST itself. NIST offers so much free training. It's actually unbelievable. You just go to NIST.gov and look up their training. If you want to be competent on, NIST RMF and everything that's out there, they have training for you completely for free. Beyond that, there are some people that I like to follow. So like every day in the morning, you want to talk about GRC, I listen to my Jerry Ozier Simply Cyber podcast,
Simply
get the
Cyber.
brief. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Fun fact, real
Yeah.
quick to interrupt you about Simply Cyber, which I found this out because Jerry's also came on the channel. We've talked.
Mhm.
By attending his morning talks, every time you attend it, it is a zero point 0.5 credit for your CEPs or CEUs,
Yep.
which I think in total for the whole year for when you're due is like 100. You can technically get almost 130 hours
Yep.
by attending. And it's like all you have to do is like do like a little screen. I can't remember how he mentioned of how they have to record it.
So,
And I don't know
what
if you
what I like to do, yeah, I'll put my name in the chat, and then when it comes up on his screen, I'll take a screenshot of it, and that's what it kinda uses my evidence for.
Yeah. Wanted to throw that out there real quick because I think
Mhm.
that's a really cool piece that Jerry does offer when it comes into like that's an easy way to get CEUs, your continuous
Mhm.
education learning for your certifications, is literally just attend his like I call it like a morning podcast, but he has good information that he kind of briefs out the entire day. And he just does such a good job delivering everything and talking on stuff. So it's great to hear Jerry kind of go into his talks and stuff. But sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Oh gosh, so where was I going? It's
People
related
to
to that.
follow. People to
Yeah,
follow.
yeah, probably follow. Well, Josh Mason, New Village people, Black Hills, of course. I'm wearing one of their
Yes.
shirts right now. Their Monday afternoon podcast, and then of course there's us. So if you want to join our community, another way to get CEUs. So every Tuesday we hold a webinar of sorts where we get one of our community members to talk about something super cool and learn something. And I'll tell you, having presented on more than a few occasions, if you want to really learn something, force yourself to have to teach it.
Yep. And I think I jumped in on your guys' last Tuesday. It was like digital forensics is what they were talking on.
Yeah.
I jumped in and they were showing off the car crash where it's like one of the detectives like showed the phone that was like, correct. Can we still get data from this if they were texting and driving?
Yeah.
So, but and that's crazy because like being obviously my law enforcement days with my vehicular crime unit, I saw that car wrapped around a pole or pretty much T-boned and smashed. I'm like, oh yeah, impairment, texting and driving, possibly another impaired driver or someone not paying attention. Yeah, it's wild. Ugh. Well, I know you're not wearing, because I do want to mention this because I thought it was funny the first time we talked, the additional extension to your headset for what you also get to stream on. And this is slightly off topic of cyber, but obviously for things you like to do for fun, I know you like to stream and play some games. Mm-hmm. And can you explain the game that you do live stream on? I think you said Thursday nights.
Yeah. So no, I normally stream. It'll be Friday nights with another friend of mine who's a DevOps engineer, super cool guy. Also was an Army infantryman, by the way, went through the 25 Delta program, was the honor graduate of his 25 Delta program. So again, all you infantrymen out there, we aren't all done apes. But yeah, we play a game called Star Citizen. So it is sort of a life simulator in space. So you act as a person, you can do all kinds of weird things, fly around in spaceships, whatever your heart desires. It's a lot of fun.
No, I think that's so cool and I like it. And it's just like, there's always has to be that, like, I always ask the question too, like when you're unplugged for the day, you step away from cyber, like, what are you doing to kind of recharge? Because burnout's obviously a very real thing here in the industry. And I mean, I know obviously one of my outs, like I'm married, I got kids, so hanging out with the fam, going to the gym, playing video games. I can only imagine that's almost identical or very maybe close in proximity to your end of day routine. Or what are some things you try to do to kind of unwind to ensure you're not kind of facing that burnout issue and problems?
Sure. So I have a family. So establishing that clean work-life balance is kind of my priority. Nobody ever gets it perfect, but you try to do the best that you can. So spending time with them is absolutely my primary way of unwinding. But beyond that, I like to play around and learn things. I'm kind of an autodidact, so I teach myself as I go along. I do cool 3D printing, including one of the badges that you have hanging above your head right now. So yeah, a lot of different little things like that.
Yeah, and I've talked to folks on I need to get into 3D printing. It's on my list of things to do this year because I think for our following year at New Village, we may try to do kind of the very similar thing with you guys with the No 404 badges and provide those as like almost like name tags and say like looking and like it's weird. We had a few of our folks have some good ideas, right? It can be a name tag or it can be like, hey, looking to like network, looking to find a new role. Something kind of like where they can kind of plug and play and kind of write in like a name even. But no, that's awesome, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the New Village is where we met, which was really cool. I'm glad that, my badges went over well. And I was so happy that I could help out you and Josh and the rest of the crew at the New Village by giving some of my time and help give back to the community. And if there is anything that I can help you guys with, if you want me to input on any badge design or you want to steal my files that I used, if you want to use it as a template, let me know. I'll send them to you.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I think the piece of the puzzle next is finding a printing lab or a farm to kind of, and there's so many now you can go online and kind of find stuff and get that stuff all printed out and created and stuff. So that's actually kind of perfect. But I guess another question I have for you too, John, is um, when it comes to networking and
Mhm.
being a part of a community, how important would you say that could be for someone trying to break into this industry? So I think
It's
we saw
everything.
it. I think we saw it at New Village and even in our own careers. Like I even found my first role because of my mentors and being introduced to Ryan Murray, who's our state CISO here in Arizona, but at the time was one of our SOC leads. And by just doing that and having like my resume get brought to them and say, hey, I can take you to the table, but you need to get yourself in the door and sell yourself as the best candidate. Networking and being a part of this community has been huge. I've jokingly said I social engineered my way into DEF CON for free this year, working for New
Yep.
Village. But in full transparency, like being a part of the community and getting to talk with Josh and kind of share my passion of trying to level up folks within this community and get them the skills and be a shepherd to show them the path they want to go to. Because people come up to you all the time, like, I want to get into cyber. What would you like to do? I want to get into pen testing. Well, I'm not a pen tester, but I know some folks who are, or I know some training that you can get to for free or some great resources. But would you say networking is a huge component on getting into this industry and
Quite
kind of being
quite
well known?
frankly quite frankly, it's required. Um, I hate to say it, with the advent of a lot of new agent AI tools and things like that, a lot of those entry level positions are getting either deleted or minimized. And so getting into the community, making contacts with people who are already there, who can just like you be like, I can open the door to get your name on the table. It is everything these days.
Very.
And beyond that, outside of even, for employment purposes, it's also the best way to learn, because developing those relationships with people who have knowledge, like nobody is an expert in everything. So creating those relationships, finding people that you can call upon, whether you want to call them your mentor or just friends is what I would call them, is is critical, because having that guy, so I have this problem, have you seen this before, who can be like, yeah, so like this is what you would do, is just fundamentally a requirement for success.
Yeah, I've knock on wood, but jokingly, like even mentioned, like, and I've talked to other folks too, where it's like building your public branding, kind of who you are, what you're doing in the community, how you're learning every year, is, I think, like you said, imperative. Because God forbid something happens with your work role, there becomes a job cuts, budgeting goes, and you're one of the ones that get cut.
Yep.
What's your network know about you? Do
Right.
they know you're a advent of cyber that loves to go in and do a little bit of everything? Are you a GRC SME? Are you an amazing pen tester? Are you a leader? And does that show across your kind of like public platforms like social media via through LinkedIn? And I would like to think with high confidence, like God forbid, knock on wood, something happened to a role I fell out of. If I were to post on my LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm available for work, I would probably hopefully at least have 3 to 5 people telling their managers, hey, we need to grab Andy.
Yep.
This guy's a rock star. We need to either create a role or find a role, or hey, this role we have, he would totally be a great fit.
Mhm.
And being able to have that type of strong community, I think, is huge, like you mentioned.
Yep.
Because same thing, like when I have questions or things I need to ask, I can go to Discord, I can go to a Signal chat with some warrant officers or some other folks I have across my unit or in
Yep.
this industry. And I can do a huge wide net ask of, hey, is anyone familiar with this topic? Or hey, has anyone used this product or this tool that's currently out and about? And then if someone says yes, hey, cool. If we jump on a 15, 20-minute call, 9 times out of 10, I get an answer. Yep. Give me 5 minutes. I can hop on real quick and let's chat. And
Nice.
I think, like you mentioned, that's huge in this environment, because having that lifeline and that kind of networking capability to not only spit back ideas as well, like for training ideas, learning paths, when it comes into new folks trying to get in, that mentorship and like that reassurance that, hey, like I want to get into GRC, but should I get my pen test plus? Do you think that's the right first cert to get for GRC? That network can be like, yeah, no, that's great to have. Don't get me wrong. It's important to know those skills, but hey, if you're trying to go GRC, these are the things you should be focusing on first.
Yep.
And everyone's journey into every different role is so different that it's also kind of a choose your own adventure. I think, like we talked about before, it's like, hey, you can go to school, you can get the educational background of compliance and understanding. You can go to YouTube University and follow all the folks we mentioned before with tons of great knowledge and skill of just being in the role and in that environment. You can also just go to NIST.gov and start
Mhm.
going through all that free training. And honestly, with GRC, I tell people a lot of this. There's a lot of reading. And in
There
cyber
is.
in general, there's a lot of reading and learning. So if you hate school or if you're not a fan of the continuous learning process, be cautious because, yes, with cyber, it is every 3 months to 6 months, you're learning about new CVEs, new security processes, new tools. You might have to uh, recreate SOPs or procedures that go out of place.
Yep.
And so being well versed and well written and being able to have clear and concise summaries are also a huge part of in any role personally, because whether you're a pen tester, you're writing pen test reports. If you're a SOC analyst, you're writing case reports. If you're in GRC, you're writing compliance reports.
Mhm.
If you're in sales and procurement, you're writing procurement purchasing agreements, contracts, and
Mhm.
going through that whole process. So yeah, the name of the game is cybersecurity. You will be a continuous learner for the rest of your life until you retire,
No
unfortunately.
doubt. Well, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say unfortunately. I guess that's maybe my personality type. I love to learn. That
I
I
was gonna
think that's one
say,
of my biggest drivers is just
yes.
teach me a new thing every day. Teach
Yep.
me 3 new things. Do
Yep.
it.
I
Yeah.
was just about to echo that. Like, I love learning new things every day. And it's like same thing, like when I get to work my day-to-day job, when I see something come across our sim or our tools, I'm like, huh, I haven't seen this before. What's this? I get the
Mhm.
little shoulder dance shrug. I'm like, ooh, this
Like,
could
all
be fun.
right.
And then I
That's
can
right.
then I fly, then I solve my issue. I'm like, okay, this is benign. This wasn't anything crazy. Nothing to deep hunter IR dive into. And so another good here's a good question I actually have for you, John.
Yeah.
So with GRC,
Mhm.
what do you think would be a additional good skill to pair with that? Would you say being more blue team oriented, procurement, pen testing? Like, is there a good pairing like cheese and wine, peanut butter and jelly, GRC and kind of thing? Like, I always preference like being
So
a good SOC analyst could be being a good red teamer. Being a good red teamer, you'd want to be a
yeah,
good SOC analyst
mhm.
because you're wanting to know how each one's kind of going against it. It's red versus blue. And if you know how the red team's going to act, you can know how the blue team would want to defend it. If you know how the blue team's going to act, you know how if you're the red team, you're going to want to kind of circumvent that.
Yep. So I would say, keeping within the realm of cybersecurity, we would probably align closest with the SOC guys, people on the blue team. Um, Though that's a very difficult question to answer because, as you said, everything sort of feeds into each other.
I thought it was a good question. I'm like, ooh, I wonder if he has a good answer.
Yeah, no, yeah. So
Not to
yeah,
put you on the spot. Not to put you on the spot.
no,
'Cause I'm
no,
like,
no, no.
man,
You're fine. You're fine. So with GRC, um, yeah, having a good foundational knowledge of blue team stuff, it will definitely help. And I'm not necessarily talking about, hands in a tool, digging the scene, looking at alerts. I'm talking more along the lines of how does all of that function? What
mhm,
is the underlying process? What is the underlying big picture behind all of that? Outside of that, the biggest strength is going to be all you can be your professional skills, as we now call them. So,
mhm.
being able to communicate clearly, being able to understand other people, because that's a big thing too, is understanding other people and making sure you have the correct thing. Because if you don't understand somebody's intent, or you don't clearly understand, the risk appetite of the organization, you're not going to be on the right course. So,
No, that's actually awesome. I wanted to go to NIST.gov real quick. NIST.gov or org, or is there a difference? SCOV?
should be gov, yeah. Yep.
We're going to try this real quick. Da, da, da. Sorry, on the fly, people. See, we got 5 viewers. So, hey, everybody, welcome to the channel. If you just
Hi,
came
chat.
in, hello. Hello, friends. We're going to go. Oh, I hope this doesn't do like a crazy video within a video kind of thing. All right. We're going to share this window,
Okay.
share entire screen, go here and quickly go here. All right, cool. Is it still Let me quickly check. I have my stream going up on one of my cameras, just to actually make sure it's not like echoingly horribly. But are you
No,
seeing my? Are you
you look
seeing?
okay. I see your
Okay,
screen. It is okay.
so here we see kind of the NIST platform here.
Yep.
So is there a specific labs and major programs? Obviously, is there a specific piece in here where you'd recommend folks to go into to do that learning piece on where they need to
So
start?
that's a great thing. So I wouldn't even start from navigating the NIST website is sometimes really annoying. That said, honestly, I wouldn't even go to the NIST.gov and try to navigate there directly. I would just Google NIST training and then find the link from NIST.gov. I think it's in their
Oh,
information
okay.
technology laboratories where they keep all of their training. Um, let's see, yeah, information technology, and then more.
Events, standards, full menu, how to work with us, publications,
YouTube.
videos. And that's the thing. That's the thing I love and hate about. I jokingly say about love and hate about GRC. It's like sometimes it can be such like a labyrinth of trying to
It
navigate
can
some of
be.
the trying to
So hold
navigate some
on
of
here.
this
I
stuff.
got you. I got you. I found a good starting point. I'll just DM you this site right here. Bam.
Oh, is that in Discord? Because my Discord's closed.
Uh-oh.
It's all good. Oh no, it's the infinite
Okay, you
screens.
ready? You want the URL? It's not super long.
Yeah, hit me with the URL real quick and I'll type it in because if I can share it or vice versa, I do want to kind of jump to it. I think there's some cool concepts we can actually show on it, is what I want
All
to
right,
try to
cool. So go to nist.gov
okay.
/ITL.
ITL.
Yep, /small business cyber.
Okay, cool. Go like that. We're gonna throw this over here. And then hopefully share screen, entire screen. There we go.
Man.
And we can go like this. That way we're still
Hey,
on the
cool.
side. Hi.
All
Hi,
right.
viewers.
I gotta get taller, so I'll lean over here.
I got taller. All right, cool.
Yeah, so here, they have a lot of really cool stuff. Just cybersecurity basics. You can look at quick start guides. They have a whole training section over in the column to the left.
Oh, awesome. Okay, perfect.
Yep. And then within general, I think the bottom link is going to be free or low cost training. Yep. So if you scroll down just a little bit.
Oh, right here.
Yep.
Right here.
Go down. The last link in that section, free and low cost online cybersecurity learning center. And there's a whole bunch of resources that you can use.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. This is going to be shared in chat and in the comments below. See, this is stuff too where I've navigated the NIST site and sometimes I even get lost. I'm like, man, what was I looking for? I'm like, it's too far. So free
Government
boot team training
website
labs.
hierarchies are so wild. Like
It's
they
it.
will have pages that aren't listed on a routine basis. It's
Mhm.
difficult to navigate.
I was about to say
sometimes.
it boggles me sometimes of like the complexity of like it's like Inception trying to find the actual source you're trying to get into to find like your answer. And no, but yeah, so I'm gonna keep that. I'll keep these tabs open, but I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Cool.
But yeah, no, that's actually kind of cool because I did want to kind of showcase a little bit of the NIST platform. Because for those that haven't gone to NIST or exactly what we just did, where John had to walk us through a little bit, like, hey, let me help you out. Because yeah, it can be a lot. And if you don't know where you're going to on a lot of these sites, and we could have used the search bar, but I like to make things complicated because why not? And but yeah, if you don't know where you're trying to go on sites, sometimes it can be intimidating because being brand new into cyber or not knowing GRC or any of that compliance stuff, you're going to start reading stuff on there and like, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand. I thought this was going to be a beginner user friendly thing and it's not. So yeah, it's understandable. But well, John, we have 6 viewers in chat. I want to probably leave with, unless there's anything in, let me check chat real fast. I know some people are just kind of silent watchers, which is totally fine. But if anyone is in chat has any questions, before I kind of kick John with our last question of the night, I'll wrap it up with this. So John, first off, huge thank you for coming onto the channel. This is always a blast getting to bring folks on to share their journey and share what they're passionate about, whatever world they're in. Obviously being GRC tonight is the theme. And as a huge thank you, going to get you some awesome Ginger Hacker
Oh,
swag
thanks, man.
for coming onto the channel, for letting me steal some time away from you and the family tonight. And last but not least, the final question I love to ask folks before we leave is, what's the last piece of advice you'd give someone trying to break into cyber?
Never stop learning. Never, ever stop learning. That is what's going to take you the furthest, is that passion and drive to know things. That's probably what got you into cybersecurity to begin with.
Yeah. And just get started. It's such a, if you're doing that career change as well, it's hard to find the time. Like, I was married with one kid, one on the way when I was doing my break into getting into cyber. And yeah, it's long nights. It's going to be a lot of head scratching and being confused on a few certain concepts. But just like anything, the more you practice with something, whether you do like a 30-day or 40-day challenge, the more you practice with it compared to the day one where you start compared to day 30, you're going to get better on it.
Yep.
So, well, hey, everyone, so glad you guys got to come on the channel tonight and hang out with me and John for a little bit. As this is going to be a live stream, the video will be live on the channel after the fact. So please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the chat this evening. And we'll hang out for probably like 5 minutes and kind of just hang out for a bit, play some lo-fi, and just kind of banter for the next 5. And then we're going to go ahead and sign out for the night. So thanks everyone for coming, and we'll see you on the next episode of Breaking Into Cyber.
So how about you, Andrew? What do you do to decompress?
What do I like to do? It's funny you may ask, John. I too am a gamer at heart. So,
Cool.
Baldur's Gate 3,
Okay.
Jump Space or Jump.
Okay.
What's the new game that
I
just
think they
came out?
renamed it. Yeah, it was Jump Space. Now it's, hold on, I can give you the name because I definitely am following that as well.
Oh, dude, it's like $20 right now for the free beta, but
Yeah.
I think it's Jump Space.
It is Jump Space. It was Jump Ship before.
Dude,
Yeah,
I played it with some of my, we had a 4-man team play it 2 nights ago. I had so much fun.
Nice.
And I was actually really, it's such a mix of like almost Destiny mixed in a little bit with Borderlands is the vibe I kind of get out of it.
For sure is very Borderlands coded. Yeah, so I played with some of my friends back when it was still Jump Ship, when they had like a couple months ago, they had like their play tests or something like that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I need to get back into it. I have some friends who are playing it these days now that it was sort of released in early access, and they say it's awesome. So
yeah, that Marvel Rivals.
Okay.
I just got, obviously, so the Ginger Hacker Initiative just got stood up this month, obviously, for my nonprofit. So I've been doing a ton of stuff for the nonprofit, and then going to the gym, hanging out with the family is always too. My daughter's in kindergarten, so helping her do homework. She's reading and doing a bunch of books and stuff, so it's tons of fun.
Cool.
And then, yeah, just like you said, kind of learning, like I'm doing the Hack the Box Sherlock Blue Team CTF with a small team of some colleagues and friends. So that's been super fun. We're like 2 flags away from finishing all the challenges.
I'm rooting for you.
And just like in real life, like we found, like out of the 16 flags, we found like all of them, but like this middle flag. And we're like, man, how did we skipped it, but we found everything else. So it's just kind of funny. So
the way it goes. That is the way it goes. Well, very cool. You got any favorite kids books?
Oh man, I can tell you probably shows, because my daughter just started reading. So like we were reading like super basic, like
got it.
Oh, it's a book that's about Sam dug in the sand. Sam picked up the shovel, and it's just like super simplistic reading. But my daughter's doing amazing. Top 3 shows right now are Incredibles.
Yep.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
No surprise.
And Bluey.
Well, Bluey, of course.
Yeah, those are the top 3 that are the repeaters inside the karate household right now.
Same. I get it. 100%. Yeah, on all of the above. I tell you, that Bluey life, you know, every time I see Bandit on screen, I'm like, I want to be that dad.
I have a question for you. Any cool prints you're working on right now with the printers?
So yes, there are some developments. We're already working very hard on next year's Null 404 DEF CON badge. So yeah, I will not
Nice.
give you a preview on Steam,
Ah, man.
but there will be some cool things. We're looking at integrating some, we're making it more complex than just a piece of plastic.
Nice. RFID.
I'm not going to give you any details, but there may or may not be, there may or may not be electronics and a power supply involved. So.
Nice. I know Josh and we were having some talks on trying to maybe do a new village badge, and we didn't know if we were going to try to do that as a crowd, like ask the community saying, hey, would anyone like to try to build some badges for us, or go the like commercial route and kind of look for someone that can make badges. Like, I don't know if you saw anti-siphon trainings, badge, or not anti-siphon, or was it anti-siphon training? I don't have their pen with me. I think it was anti-siphon training. They had like this awesome, cool book badge that lit up, and Jason Haddix was only doing drops on it where it's like, hey, like follow me on Twitter, and if you see where I'm at, I'm gonna do a release drop and like give out 5 or 10 at a time. And unfortunately, I didn't get one, but I was so bummed. But the badges were so cool.
So, are you in the Badge Makers Discord?
Yes, I want to say I am from one of the previous. If it's the same Discord from all the other years, then yes.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but yeah, I think I am. So
okay, cool. A lot of good. There are people very helpful in there. They'll drop all kinds of guides and tutorials and stuff. So, depending on what you all decide you want to do. And again, if you want help, please, I'm more than happy to lend my time.
Yeah, no, I'll need to ping you, because I think I want to get the 3D printer this year, and I want to probably get one kind of very similar to yours, where I want to have different resins because I want to do multiple colors if I can. And I still need to see kind of what the next kind of plan of action that is, and just price it out. They've gotten way more affordable compared to what they were like 5 years ago. So, and much better quality.
Yep.
Well, John, I don't want to keep you too much longer. We hung out for a little bit after show, jabbering, but hey, everybody, so glad if you guys get to hang out with us and kind of chill. We will be online for the remainder of the night. Maybe I might get back on stream tonight. I don't know. I'll kind of see how I'm feeling. I'm not working tomorrow because it's my weekend, which is nice. So I get to have a little bit more later of an evening, but also kind of wanting to jump into some jump space. So as always, we'll see you guys on the next stream. Stay tuned for any additional comments and other videos that we are dropping, to include some awesome, amazing updates on the Ginger Hacker initiative for our nonprofit, where we will be doing a certification giveaway here in the next month. I will not tell you which certification, but stay tuned on the LinkedIn or the Discord, and I'm sure you're going to find out soon. So, John, once again, thank you so much for coming on the channel, and everyone else, we'll catch you on the next video. Bye.
Bye, everybody.